Hello and welcome to week 2 of the Club 100 and BUKC GT Sport Championship. After a few lobby issues last week, which we did get racing finally underway, a little bit late, but we think managed to sort out those issues for this week, so fingers crossed everybody can join, and that includes Tim Clark, who had to miss out last week. As you can see, we're currently just in a practice session for all the drivers around our first circuit of the night, which is Tokyo East Outer Loop. You can just see Jack Cameron Drayton in the car for the SR Down team, going round in wet conditions. Both races tonight in wet conditions, so that is Tokyo and Spa-Francorchamps, which, to be honest, in real life is always wet most of the time anyway, so there's no changes there for the drivers. Just to quickly run through the format in case you haven't been used to it before, we have a 10-minute qualifying session and a 20-minute race around Tokyo, and then Spa will be a 30-minute race with a reverse grid and tyre wear. So no fuel wear for any of these drivers to worry about throughout the racing, but we do have the tyre wear aspect in the second reverse grid race. We are currently looking there at our second place man in the championship, Ryan Sander, then pushed along by Callum. They are currently in the tunnel, they'll just come out of it there onto the wet conditions. And this track has literally got everything tonight. It has got the dry start line and other parts of the track look flooded. So it's going to be an interesting race for them all to take part in, and we will be heading off to the qualifying session about 9 o'clock. Now, just to run you through a few more things, you can leave any comments on the racing, any questions on the racing, Club 100 BUKC action in the chat. We have the live chat open on the stream, so that would be great if any of you would like to join in with the stream we have running here. I also have to mention that from the first week, Kirk Callery and Steve Brown both have videos up tonight of their point of view of the opening round, so it'd be great if you could head over on YouTube after this event and take a look at them. There's some great videos already on there. Going back to last week, while we're talking about it, there's two different winners out of the two races. Ryan, who you're looking at now, won the opening feature race, in which was our second round of the series, and Nathan Maximin won the opening race in dominant style. I will just try and see if we can find Nathan actually. He should be out on track somewhere. There he is. Nathan, who dominated the opening round of the season at Blue Moon Raceway, pulled away from the field and left Ryan Sander and Steve Brown's UGT to have a brilliant battle throughout the race. And it was a clean race in all way along, so we're expecting sort of the same here, but obviously the tricky conditions with the rain will make it that much tougher. I also have to apologise for the Nürburgring feature race last week, where I said that Ryan had done a 2-stop and people like Steve Brown had done a 1-stop. That was completely false. Everybody in the field, apart from I think Kirk Callery, had done 2 stops. So I've got my pen and paper here, and I'm going to jot down as many pit stops as I can notice this time. So hopefully we won't miss out, and I'll be able to actually tell you the full information from the race. Going back to the end of last week, we had the championship order, and for the first time this season we had Nathan Maxman, top of the table by 1 point over Steve Brown. 2 points behind Nathan was Ryan Sandell, and these three had pulled away from the field and had Martin Robinson, who was 11 points off the lead, a bit further back. Kev Callery took 5th in the championship, Mark Ridout 6th, and then it leads me to 7th place, which was a fill-in for last week. He's decided not to race this week, but will be joining us in the commentary box, as you may have seen from that little picture on the side. It's Jay Elliot, and I believe he's just finished his own race somewhere else. So, Jay, are you there?
Hello, Dave. How you doing?
Not bad. How did your race get on?
It's a different format. It's called a shootout.
Oh, right.
It's a format taken from hill climbing and sprinting. So there's a top 12 from last week's competition go in, and we do half an hour of who can get the fastest lap in half an hour on a random car on a random track.
And you finished
3rd. That's all you wanted to know, wasn't
that's
it?
That's all right.
All the other
stuff we just wanted you to know that you won, but obviously not. But no, 3rd's great. And
I was winning with 2 minutes left. If sob stories are any good,
that is always the way. You should know. I know about winning and losing it. So we're here at Tokyo for the opening round. Have you done any practice round these circuits in the wet? I don't know if you joined it last week.
No, I didn't even venture onto it.
No,
it's like in cool runnings when the Jamaican fellas go on the ice and they're just, this is not for them, you know. I think this is not for me.
It's certainly going to be interesting with the rain and the wet conditions. Is there anybody who sort of, shall we say, we had Steve Brown, Nathan and Ryan at the top last week. Is there anybody else who sort of caught your eye and sort of might maybe able to sneak him in the championship order?
For tonight in the wet or overall?
Overall and tonight.
Overall, I guess next in line you got Mark and Trev. Tim obviously missing last round was pretty tough. I don't think Trev's got exactly the same pace as those other top 3. I think Mark possibly can do, but he's inexperienced in the Group 3, Group 4 cars, so he's sort of learning on the job. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes tonight, actually, in the rain.
You are right to bring up Mark, because he has commented about he hasn't practiced. He's not somebody who races in wet conditions on the game that often, and like you said with the Jamaican bobsleigh team, it is like ice at times, depending on what the lobby's been set at. I've just been out with my controller racing in their practice session, and here had a lot more grip than Spa, so the second race might be a lot more entertaining in terms of action. But with the long straight here, we're certainly going to see some overtaking.
Yeah, looking forward to it. What have you seen so far in practice? Who's looking good?
Nate, I think Steve told Nathan to slow down at one point. Ryan looks quick as he always does. Whether Steve was just playing or whether he was that quick. Callum didn't look too bad actually in practice. He's currently on our screens in 3rd place in this practice session, and he might have a bit of pace in this opening race, but it always comes down to tyre wear with Callum, and it just didn't go right for him last season when he had the tyre wear races.
Sounds like me, mate. I can't do the tyres either.
You didn't get... Did you... Where did you come last week? I can't remember now.
The tyre race? Nowhere.
Yeah.
I beat Peter simply because he fell off with a few laps to go. Otherwise I would have been stone last. As soon as you've gone through like 2 laps, I'm losing seconds a lap. I don't know what it is. Can't adjust, or I'm overdriving it. They're very, very difficult. These guys at the top, it's not just about managing the tyres, but once they start going off, keeping consistent lap times, not making mistakes, is really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the people who you mentioned the people at the top. I mean, obviously Steve Brown, Trevor have all been top in GT Sports, manufacturer races and things like that. But going on the consistency side, that's, I think, what just lets Mark down a little bit. He's very quick over a lap and can put a few laps together, but then a mistake will come in like it did last week, and he has to try and play catch up and then pushes too hard altogether. So if Mark can cut out that mistake like he did, I think he had one in each race last week. If he can cut out both them mistakes, he could easily win both races.
Well, yeah, easily might be an overstatement, but
Well, yes.
It'd be up there. Yeah, he's got the pace for sure. I think if you take anyone in the world apart from maybe top 20 or 30, and they would struggle to win this race easily.
I mean, that's the thing for our viewers who are watching who don't know sort of how these guys are on GT Sport, may only know them through Club 100. This is a very competitive grid. I think slightly more competitive than last year. We managed to get Steve in, we managed to get Mark to join in this year, and that's no disrespect to the people who have missed out or not entered this year, but I do think we've got a lot more surprise winners we could have this year.
Yeah, you've got 5, I would say, people that are regularly in top split or top 2 splits in daily racing.
So we have now headed into our qualifying session. Sam Dimlow just giving a note out for no wall running. I'm sure a penalty would probably come up if they're doing that too much, but certainly aimed at Callum Brewell for some reason there. But we are watching currently the first guy out, which is Ryan Sandell.
Callum probably just crashed into the wall. And,
that is a fair point.
Sam's just making a comment on it.
Ryan is just coming round towards the end of a lap, so we'll ride on board with him for his opening lap of the race qualifying session. I'll put the gears and the acceleration on so you can see how much he's using the throttle to control the power as he heads down to the final corner here, which is I'd say a double apex hairpin. Trying to get the car slowed down, all about straightening it up. He's run very wide there. I don't know whether that's part of his tactic to get it straightened up. He was very quick in practice with that line, and as he heads down the main straight and into the tunnel, which is going to make it slightly more interesting, because obviously as you've just seen, it's been soaking wet, then it dries down the hill and then becomes bone dry. Now if this was a tyre wear race, I think it would make things far more interesting in terms of whether the tyres would run out even in this straight line in the tunnel.
Well, we'll know, won't we, in the second race? I don't know how tyre affects the wets. Never done it before.
Well, speaking to a few people in the practice session, I think it was Callum and Ryan himself, they were saying it could be a 0 or 1 stop depending, so it sounds like there's less tyre wear than we had in the opening race, but if somebody tries a 0 stop, that'll be brave with the power of the cars and losing grip and Spa being very slippery.
These boys are at the front are all getting each other's way.
But currently Ryan has a clear track in front and slightly clear track behind, so we'll let Ryan finish his lap. If we just slot back, there's Martin Robinson, who's second on the road at the moment. We're almost running wide through the chicane and just clipping the wall. Next up will be Nathan, who's just gone inside Martin, so he is on a quick lap. So going off the qualifying sessions before, I think this is very much could be a Nathan, Ryan, Steve battle for pole position, especially with Mark not having done practice. But Jay, what do you think the situation will be with the controller drivers, with it being a wet track? Do you think that will hinder them a little bit more?
Well, I've just seen Trev clip the wall, so
yeah, probably.
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask Trev, he's the expert on those sorts of things. I haven't been using a controller for a long time. And with most things, it doesn't help, right? So
yeah,
that's probably the default answer.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a lot more difficult to control the slides. You're more likely to overcorrect things, as we're actually already halfway through this qualifying session and we've only set the first lap, so we're only going to get a couple of laps in each here.
Yeah, I'm not convinced the slipstream is that helpful. You want to pick it up right at the end, really, or just overtake them on the straight. Just get it right at the start. People getting in your way is just costing seconds, chunks and chunks.
Well, we're just looking there at the timing screen on the left hand side. We've got Nathan Maximum in pole position by 0.6 of a second currently. Ryan Sandell in third, and he's 0.9 clear of Tim Clark. Finally, we have Tim and Steve in the same lobby, but Tim is getting very held up at the back here because he's at the back of all them cars. Jack Cameron Drayton is in fourth, Steve Brown in fifth, 2.3 off the pace, but like you said, he got caught up in traffic through that opening lap.
Well, I've just seen Mark pushing Jack all the way down the straight and then sliding into the side of him into turn one. So all that working together didn't work out very well, and he's just hit him again, launched him into the wall and spun himself out. Do you think Mark
maybe the slipstream isn't
do you think he can overdrive and be a bit overeager sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, those who were at the Club 100 round in 2007, I never let Mark forget this. He was leading a race and then he come round with a yellow flag, and I'm not saying it was 100% his fault because he couldn't see round the corner, but a pusher cart was in the way, restarted somebody, and he blew a race win that way. So, but that wasn't 100% his fault, but we'll see how it goes. There's the apology through the chat to Jack.
I think there's a few people here that are going to get some toes into the final straight.
I have noticed, looking at the
Super GT's lap looks good, and he's going to get a toe all the way up as well.
Yeah, I've noticed a few cars using traction control. I'm wondering if Steve is. I don't think he will be.
They might have it on one. Nathan, when he drives on the wet, changes it for every corner.
I haven't got time to think about things like that. There's a new... Is that a new fastest lap?
That is
at
very
second
close
place for Steve. That lap. Nathan's in the pits, so that's his qualifying session over. He doesn't believe he can go any quicker. And he's only 1.8 seconds quicker than Steve, who's now come in the pits himself. So they're all feeling 2 laps is enough. Ryan Sandell is third. He's 0.3 off at the moment, so he might be able to find that pace to climb up there. Tim Clark in fourth, Callum Burrell up to fifth, Jack in sixth. A great showing so far by Peter Harris in seventh. Eighth is Martin Robinson. Ninth is Trevor Randall. Maybe that hindrance on the controller is there, but he is stuck in traffic at the moment, so wrong positioning for Trevor there, I think. Kev Callie Ryan 11th, Eric Mignon in 12th, Sam Dimmelone 13th, and currently Mark Riddelt is bringing up the rear, but I don't think he set a representative lap because he's 7 seconds off the pace.
Very impressed with Alex in 6th at the moment.
Oh yes, Alex has he just jumped up to, yes, he's just jumped up to 6th, so that's a great lap considering Alex jumped in these cars at last minute last week. He's obviously done a bit of testing since then, and he's finished his qualifying session off with a 6th at the moment. We have 45 seconds remaining, so Ryan actually might get another lap in here. I think he might be the only one. So he heads down the hill towards the start finish line in the tunnel. Will he be able to go any quicker on this one? See as he crosses the line. Oh, the line's a bit further down than I expected. Crosses the line with 20 seconds to go, and he does go quicker, and he's 79 thousandths off Nathan and jumps up into 2nd place.
Not going to get much closer than that on a wet long track, are you? 2 minute 20 lap.
That is just it's ridiculously close, I think. But I think Ryan may be going again. It's better lap time there by Trevor, but that has only put him up into 9th place. Better lap by Sam Dimolo to put himself 12th. So that moves Eric Mignon down to 13th. Mark's improved to a 2:24.6. As we said before, Mark hasn't practiced, so I'm expecting he will be picking up his speed, but that's his qualifying session over, I think. So it's just who will get another lap in. Jack Cameron Drayton gets one in to pop in to stay 6th, but it's an improvement. So we're just waiting for, I think we're just waiting for Ryan to finish his lap. I'm just going to look further back. I think most people have finished their laps. I think Tim Clark might be the last one on a lap, but Ryan will be the first to complete his, as he goes very wide through that corner, almost wall running. So I think he is giving up on his lap.
He's a bit slower this lap, yeah. Tim's not doing a great lap either.
We've got Tim, who's 8 tenths off the pace, and just in front of him, was that a white car? Yes, it was Martin Robinson coming round. He's 1.7 off the pace at the moment, but he's only 96 thousandths off Peter Harris, who I think's done a great job to get up into 7th place. So into a final hairpin, Martin slides it round. Does that cost him too much? I'm not sure now. But he comes out the final corner, and it's a long stretch to the start finish line now. He will make it 42 seconds before the lobby turns to the race. So here comes Martin across the line, and will he improve? Probably not from what we've seen of that lap. No improvement there for Martin, and no improvement for Tim. So who have we got left out there doing a lap? Anybody? Doesn't look like it. I think that is
just Alex, I think.
Or is it just Alex? Let's have a look. Where's Alex? No, that's qualifying ended. So in pole position for the 2nd time this year is Nathan Maximum from Ryan Sandell, as we head to the race here at Tokyo Expressway. Remember, you can leave any comments in the chat if you want to ask any questions, but it's Nathan from Ryan. Steve Brown and Tim Clark make up row 2, Callum Brule and Jack Cameron Drayton on row 3. As we wait for the cars to pull away, we'll go on board with 2nd place Ryan Sandell. And they're away. Nathan and Ryan get a good start there. It's Steve Brown into 3rd and Tim Clark into 4th as they all haggle for a place in the slipstream. Will Nathan be first by turn 1? I doubt it, looking at the pack of cars behind him. As Ryan goes to the outside, that's an interesting choice. Will he make it round? It looks like he will. And here comes Steve Brown. It's going to be 3 wide almost into turn 1. Steve backs out of it slightly, and we've got that's Callum Brule coming up the inside, possibly into second place. Bit of door rubbing throughout, but we do have a leader in Nathan Maxman, and Callum Brule has moved up the inside into second place into that turn 1.
Clean start, really, wasn't it?
It was relatively clean, considering everybody.
I was expecting a bit more chaos than that. Mind you, lap's not over yet.
Yes, I mean, I'll be honest, I did see Callum coming up the inside of turn 1 and think 3 abreast, this is not going to work, but it was only a bit of door rubbing, and actually Callum is now on the back of Nathan Maximin and challenging him for the early lead of this race. That's a great start by Callum, who I think started 5th. In 3rd we have Tim Clark, 4th Ryan Sandell, 5th Martin Robinson, 6th Jack Cameron Drayton, and 7th, down to 7th has gone Steve Brown, and 8th is Trevor Randall, right behind Steve. So I don't know what happened to Steve there. I think he was on the outside of those 3 and just tried to stay out of trouble in turn 1.
This is the all important now. Is he going to keep the toe? Is Callum going to keep the toe of Nathan?
Callum squirming out of the final corner.
He's 2 attempts out. He's not going to do it.
You're right, he's a bit far back, whether he'll get a bit closer going down. Yeah, the gap's eking out there between front and 2. A lot further back.
That's
in
fifth place.
In 5th place we've got Martin Robinson picking up the toe of Ryan Sandell, who's got, and then Jack Cameron Drayton's picking up the toe of both of them there. So we'll just go for the reverse facing camera of Martin. Yeah, Steve Brown will not be catching the back of that toe, but these are all in the toe of Tim Clark as Ryan goes to the outside of Tim towards turn 1. It seems to be Ryan's favourite way of going. It may let Martin Robinson up the inside. We're on board with Martin, and that will be a great move if he can pull it off. He's trying not to run Ryan into the barrier, and he has pulled that off, I think. That is a great move by Martin Robinson, up into 4th place past the reigning champion Sandell. We will now just quickly see if we can bring up a replay of that. Oh, that hasn't gone further enough back. We'll try again. Yes, there we are, side by side. Ryan doesn't hit the wall. Martin just keeps it on the inside for turn 2 and is through. That is a really clean move considering the conditions.
Callum is flying here.
Yeah, we switch back to the front, and there is, as Jay said, Callum Brule is catching Nathan Maxman, only 6 tenths off. Not sure. I mean, I don't really want to be rude, but has Callum swapped drivers with somebody? Has Steve jumped in his car or something? This is not pace that we've seen from Callum. Certainly in these Aston Martins.
Before the race, but he's just lost the toe again before that all-important straight.
It's just that run down the hill. He seems to not quite get the corner, but Nathan's a bit squirrely out of that final corner. It's hard to get the power down, and Callum is slowly closing the gap, so whether he can eke it onto the back of Nathan by the end of the straight, I'm not 100% sure. Yes, very rude of me, Steve, to say that Callum shouldn't be up in second place. He's absolutely flying it. As you can hear from Jay, we're both impressed with this drive by Callum so far. Back at the battle for 4th, and Ryan Sandell's got back up the inside, and Steve Brown has followed Ryan and is now going to the inside of Ryan. And is that going to be a 2-in-1 move by Steve Brown as Martin Robinson fights back? This is extra close between these three. How have they kept it out the wall there? And it's actually staying exactly how it was after all that. So Ryan stays 4th, Martin 5th, and Steve Brown in 6th. As Steve continues to look around the outside of Martin Robinson. That could be a brilliant move if Steve's able to pull this off, and he does it. That's a brilliant move around the outside of Martin Robinson. As you can see here, he just sticks it to the outside of turn 3, keeps the grip off the racing line, off the paint, and that is a top GT Sport driver there, showing his experience on the game.
I was going to say Jack was doing well to stay with that group, but he just clipped the wall a couple of times and he's lost the toe now of Martin.
Yeah, Jack Cameron Drayton just ahead of Trevor Randall, who's slowly moving his way through the field, but not the result Trevor would have been wanting after missing out on the first race last time out. Just look right at the back, we have Mark Ridout in 14th. Obviously the wet conditions not working to his favour so far, and also Tokyo not a track he's done very often. So he is now trying to chase down Sam Dimolo. Peter Harris's good grid position has fallen back to 12th, and he's in a fight with newcomer Alex Wilmot, who almost loses it coming out the final corner. I'm not sure if that was contact with Peter Harris or not. We'll have a quick look if we can. I don't know if we'll catch it. Yeah, here we are. Peter gets out the final corner, and no, Alex just almost loses it on the throttle. So absolutely nothing in terms of contact there, just the slippery conditions.
What do we think's happened to Mark? He was miles behind, didn't he?
I think
continued his form from quali.
Yeah, I think with Mark, he's still trying to get used to the road circuit here at Tokyo, and I mean, I don't think the manufacturers in the Nations Cup often have wet races, and that's the main thing he does quite often. You don't even see a wet race in the dailies that often, I don't think so. Yeah, it's not the conditions he's used to, but hopefully he'll be up to speed by Spa, and he's got a very well balanced McLaren to use, except in practice he was using the McLaren F1, which I don't think could be allowed. But we're back at the front. We have 11.5 minutes remaining, and it's Nathan Maximin leading by 2.8 seconds. He's checking out like he did last week in the sprint race. In second place we now have a battle between Callum and reigning champion Sandell. Sandell right up the rear of Bruel at the moment.
So he's just gone purple as well, Ryan, so he's obviously got a bit of pace. If he can get past Callum, he might have a chance. Well, it's a few seconds now. The gap first.
The gap's now 3 seconds.
I think Callum's going to let him have this and hope he drags him back up.
Yeah, Callum completely just let him go on that one by the looks of things as they go into the corner.
No, he's missed it.
Where did Ryan go there? I completely missed that.
Yeah, just outbraked himself. He just outbraked himself and missed it. Because he was on a different line, but he just missed his brake marker.
On board with Ryan Sandell. Yes, he's on the inside of Callum here and just goes skating straight on. Even if the cones were there, he would have gone through the cones, and through goes Callum, through goes Tim Clark, and I think he comes out alongside Steve Brown. So it's a 4-car scrap for second place now, as we're back with the battle, and we've got Callum, it's Tim Clark up into second place now. Now Ryan Sandell. This slipstream is certainly working for these 4 cars, and Steve Brown is just sitting there, just letting this all happen by the looks of things, and just waiting to pit the gap that forms. So we'll let them go through turn 1. No contact between them at the moment. There's 3 abreast at the back again with Tim Clark, Steve and Bruel. But they've let Sandell go, and he's up into second place, and Steve Brown has moved up into third. ahead of Tim Clark, and Callum Brule drops to 5th after a promising opening stint to this race.
I think you'll need a mistake from Nathan to catch him, but Ryan will be happy with second in the championship if he can get that out of this race. It'd be good. A second for the championship would be good points for him.
Currently we do have the top 3 in the championship as the top 3 in the race. It's first, third and second in the top 3 positions, and these are all covered by 2 points actually in the championship. Martin Robinson, who's 4th in the championship, is running in 6th at the moment, so he will be losing more points to the leading bunch. And this is the kickstart for Tim Clark's championship. I think he'll be very happy with a 4th place after missing the whole of last week due to connection issues.
I think this race is far from over for second. Here they go. Super GT sliding sideways into Ryan.
Oh, and Tim's gone straight up the inside of them both. Has he gone both? No, he doesn't get Ryan, but he gets Steve. So we'll look on board with Tim if we can see that into the final corner. Yeah, Ryan just runs wide. Steve slides sideways into him. I don't think there's any contact there. And Tim thought he had second place, but the grip on the outside was tremendous for Ryan Sandell. As we go back to the
Callum's
battle.
still got the toe.
Yeah, Callum is certainly still in this fight, especially if these 3 keep fighting. And Martin Robinson not too far behind as well if they keep this 3 wide.
Martin has basically lost the second on that straight, Dave. He's lost the second from Callum on that straight because of the big toe.
Well, Steve, running very wide and manages to keep it out the wall. That was well done by Steve, but now it's Tim Clark back into second place. You'd think this is a battle for the lead, but actually Maximin is 6.5 seconds out in front. He is just gaining hand over fist because of this fighting. But there we have a 5-car train for second place, because Robinson is joining the back of this now. Even though, as Jay said, all that time he lost on the straight, all the fighting through turn 1 and 2 has put him back in the battle. And the next up will be Jack Cameron Drayton if he can join on the back. Ooh, into the wall goes Tim, and through goes Steve Brown. That was a costly mistake by Tim. Sandell now pushing the rear of Clark through the corners, and that is Cameron Drayton and the red Lightning McQueen car of Trevor Randall, not to be discounted at the moment with 6 minutes to go. Will they all make the apex this time? They do. Sandell has to fight off the attentions of Brule, who is certainly fighting back after dropping from 7th to 5th. Sorry, 2nd to 5th. As we head back through the tunnel and across the start line for the 6th time and on to the lap 7. We've got 5.5 minutes to go, so probably 2, maybe 3 more laps to go, just depending how it goes. And the 2-car train of Clark and Sandell are now back in the slipstream of Steve Brown. So they will catch him round about now, and let's see how they all pick their slots for turn 1. It's Brown to the inside of Clark. Clark runs out wider. Will that leave the door open for Sandell? It just about does. Sandell goes through, and Clark falls from 2nd to 4th and now has Brule on the case, as the 3 cars behind Robinson, Cameron Drayton and Randall have just dropped off for now. just looking at the lap, we have Sandell right up behind Steve Brown. Steve Brown has done a 2-minute 22.3. Ryan Sandell has done a 2-minute 23.3. So Steve could be 1 second lap quicker there. And Nathan Maxman a 2 minutes 20.4. So he's 2 seconds a lap quicker as Nathan up here at the front. But we will flip back to second place, because no disrespect Nathan, but watching you drive out into the distance isn't where the action is. As Brown runs a little bit wide in the final corner there, slides it out the corner, but Sandell has got him. Sandell straightens the car and goes through back into second place. But these 4 cars, including Brewell at the back, will be all together by the time they reach turn 1 again. So sit back and watch the slipstream work.
Callum's not in it, is he?
Is he not close enough? No, he's a second off. I didn't realise that. He looked a bit closer coming out the final corner, but we're now 3 wide for second place. Brown on the inside, Sandell to the other side, and in the middle is Clark. I'm surprised these 3 haven't ended up crashing into each other in these conditions. They go up into turn 1, Brown to the inside and holds on to second place. Clark, can he keep second from Sandell? Just about. The car's sliding out of turn 1. These guys are really pushing now. They've got 2 minutes 30 on the clock, so they will get 1 more lap after this. And I think the whole field possibly will, which would be great to see. We'll have a look through the field in reverse. We have Mark Ridout just crossing the line now. He may get 1 more lap. He's 25 seconds off Sam Dimolo, so he's had an eventful race that we haven't seen on camera. Dimolo is in 13th. Series newcomer Wilmot in 12th. Peter Harris in 11th, right up behind Eric Mignon and Keir Calirai. 8th is Jack Cameron Drayton, who has just been passed by Trevor Randall. And then we have this pack for second place, who are now 10 seconds off the lead.
Poor Callum lost 8 tenths on the straight.
We have
made about 5 tenths back up on turn 1, but he's just been out of the toe the whole lap.
I don't know why there's a yellow flag there.
Someone just...
Nathan's
gone.
Nathan,
where is he?
It looks like possibly his controller has disconnected. I'm just going to go back on replay. Yeah, he's just doing... It looks like he may have spun coming down the hill, but he has ghosted as well, so it looks like the wheel may have disconnected. So we now have a new leader in Steve Brown. Wow, drama from a 10-second lead. So now this battle between Clark, Brown and Sandell is for the win, with 1 lap to go.
That is... it's really interested to know what happened there. He will be absolutely gutted. A lap left. He's cruising it.
Yeah, he was absolutely in the lead by almost 11 seconds. It very much looked like a controller disconnect there, because he had ghosted as well.
I don't think it can just be that. If it had been that, he wouldn't have lost that much time. Unless he'd been doing it for ages and ages.
Oh, Steve just about finds the inside line there and slides wide into the wall. Steve's gone sideways, and it's Sandell who now leads from Clark, and Brewell makes his way past Brown as well. So we'll look back on board there with Steve Brown. He just misses the barrier on the right hand side and just tries to go a little bit too late on the brakes, slides into the wall, and the top 3 go through. But Sandell is currently got a 1 second gap back to Clark, who has Brewell all over him. Can Brewell score his first podium in the Club 100 GT Sport Series? Clark has won 2 feature races before, and Ryan Sandell, obviously the reigning champion, but Brule never on the podium yet, and he's just trying to hold on, but we'll have Steve Brown all over him into the final corner. As Brule runs a little bit wide there, that's not going to help. We've got Steve Brown on board with Steve Brown now as we head down into the final. This is the final lap. We have 1 hairpin to go and the long toe to the line. And Clark is up with Sandell as well, so any mistake into here. Ryan's gone wide. Ryan has gone wide but holds off Clark just about. And I think that may be it to the line as we watch Ryan Sandell come down the start-finish straight. He has half a second lead from Clark, and he is going to take his first sprint race win of the season and his second win overall, and take the championship lead away from Nathan Maxman as Sandell wins from Clark. Brule takes his first ever podium. Steve Brown in 4th. Trevor Randall moves up to 5th late on ahead of Martin Robinson. Jack Cameron Drayton in 7th. Nathan Maxman spins across the line, so I'm not sure if that's through annoyance or something of an issue. We'll try and find out before the next race. Peter Harris in 9th. Kev Calarai in 10th. A quiet race for Alex Wilmot in 11th. 12th for Sam Dimolo. 13th for Eric Mignon. And Mark Ridout actually didn't complete the last lap and finishes in 14th place. Well, that was a closer race than I expected with the rain. I thought there'd be a few more mistakes, but they kept it clean throughout. But Ryan Sandell is your winner of the opening race tonight here at the Tokyo Expressway. And hopefully we will be able to find out what happened to Nathan Maxman before the next race. Do you think it was a simple error there by Nathan, Jay?
It'd be a weird one, because he's normally so consistent. Like, he was miles clear, he didn't need to be pushing. I'd be surprised if there wasn't some sort of technical issue. And then you ask, what made him ghost afterwards? Weird, but obviously if it was just a disconnect, he just would have ghosted, he wouldn't have spun.
Fair point, actually, there. Fair point. As you can see, some messages, Bottle Club, coming from Steve to Nathan. Nathan very quiet at the moment. Yeah, I think that tells us all we need to know when he's just put F.
So yeah, he lost it.
Wow. Lost it from a 10-second lead. Even I don't do that. At least I only have a 4-second lead before I bottle it. But the lobby is now just being changed, and we head to Circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the 30-minute endurance race. I think Sam normally sets up a 5-minute break, which we'll take to see what happens in the practice session. I'll head out onto the course just to see what is going on. So if you want to take yourself a break, Jay, you can.
Well, I've got my missus hasn't finished her kebab she ordered for dinner, so I'll probably have to take care of that. Don't think you want to hear me munching.
No,
or
that's
choking on chili sauce.
fine. There we go. The next race is 9:50, so we've got 10-minute break until the next race. So on the commentary here, we will take a quick break in a minute. We've just had a message in the chat when I put Nathan ? And he put no comment. So I think we can take that as it was a full-blown error by Nathan. But we will take a break now, and we will be back in 5 minutes to watch the feature race here at Spa-Francorchamps. Hello and welcome back to the week 2 of the Club 100 GT Sport Championship. We've just had round 3 where we witnessed a mistake in the final lap by Nathan Maxman to throw away a 10-second lead and allow reigning champion Ryan Sandell to take the win. It was quite a dramatic race. Shouldn't have been for Nathan, and he will be looking to come back with a bang here at Spa in this feature race, where we will be having pit stops with a ×5 tyre wear. Just looking in the chat, it's great to see so many joining us live for this event, and if you want to put your comments and questions in there, we will try and answer them and read them out. And a big fan of Peter Cowan is in the commentary box with me today. It's Jay Elliot, who might be just about back from eating his wife's kebab.
Yeah, nearly finished.
Yeah, nearly finished. That's alright, I'll let you carry on for now. And
between that and sorting the dog out, it's a high-flying life, this, Dave.
It always is as a Club 100
about all his
driver.
perks.
That's what it is as a Club 100 driver. High-flying life. Normally up over a curb and somebody else, but we're now just having a look at all the drivers out there on the circuit, just getting a feel for the Spa circuit. Much different circuit to Tokyo Raceway. None of the walls close to the edge, and a lot more room to manoeuvre, but then you have the grass and gravel as well, and you have the different GR3 cars that everybody is running. As you can see there, Nathan Maxman in the McLaren 650S. We also have Steve Brown there in the Lexus, and you may notice on the graphic a new helmet there for Steve. That was actually designed by Tom Bellingham of WTF1 fame, so Steve has him to thank for that. In the Team Quadrant car, we have Callum Brewell there with his yellow lid in the Mercedes-Benz AMG. Aston Martin for Eric Mignon. A Porsche for Alex Wilmot, the Porsche 911. Mark Ridout has gone for the McLaren 650S, so different to his teammate Alex. There running wide is Martin Robinson in the Mercedes AMG. Jack Cameron Drayton followed his teammate with the McLaren, but not followed his teammate round that corner as he goes wide into the gravel. The Frey Bentos Lexus is out there for Tim Clark, and it's Lexus also for Peter Harris. Trevor Randall in the Dodge Viper. Dodge Viper for the reigning champion, like last year for Ryan Sandell. Aston Martin for Kiriff Kalirai, and Aston Martin for Sam Dimolo. Just looking at the chat, yes, Essa Rafiq, the first race has been done already, but once this stream has finished you can pan back and watch the first race. It should be uploaded on YouTube by the morning, but I will try and post a link out somewhere for us all to be able to sneak a view of it tonight. Going off YouTube, actually, it's worth having a look at Super GT, Steve Brown's YouTube channel. There's enough of followers on there to keep you interested, and loads of videos, including a video last week. And there is also Kiriff Kalirai, who's been producing videos of these races. But we are now going to head to the final. It is a reverse grid of the last race, so that's going to put Mark Ridout on pole to try and redeem himself after that last place at Tokyo. As we line up on the grid, the wipers and lights are going ablaze. We have Mark Ridout and Eric Mignon on the front row, Sam Dimolo and Alex Wilmot on the second, Kirv Calerai and Peter Harris on the third, and seventh is Nathan Maximin looking to redeem himself after race 1. The lights are on. We're waiting for race to start. And it's go here at Spa. Great start by the front row men. There's a good start back there by the two red cars. A brilliant start actually by Trevor Randall, who gets held up slightly by his teammate. But it's Mark Ridout who leads into turn 1 from Sam Dimolo and Eric Mignon. A very wide looking Callum Brewell out there. I don't think anyone's been out there since Spa F1 98. And there is a spinner at the back. That is Peter Harris, who spun out. And Ryan Sandell is facing backwards at the source and just getting going, so he will be in last place, 17 seconds off the pace at least. But it is Mark Ridout who leads heading up to Les Combes, and he has a clear 1.5 second lead over Kirv Calerai, who's jumped up into second place up the straight as he runs wide and half spins, but he gets it back on. And Nathan Maximin from 7th on the grid is now in second place. Martin Robinson up into 3rd, Eric Mignon 4th, and Calerai in 5th, with Trevor Randall moving his way through into 6th, and Steve Brown moves up into 6th now, as Trevor Randall slows for some reason. I'm not sure what happened there to Trevor.
He spent a bit of time off the track, Dave, I think.
Did he run wide out of Les Combes probably, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Oh, the ram rider was pushed wide.
So
you'd probably say pushed in mini guys.
Yeah, possibly in these conditions. But we're now heading up to Lefania's chicane, and Ridout is 2 seconds in the lead. I thought he didn't like the rain, to be fair, but he's certainly looking after it on this first lap. We still have 2 cars off the back of the pack. That is Peter Harris and our reigning champion Sandell. He will have a lot of work to do in these conditions to get a good result from here. But we head out the back of the circuit. Oh, Ridout almost losing it over the curb, and that will mean his lead will be demolished by Maximin and Robinson as they head towards the bus stop chicane.
Robinson looking really fast.
I was just looking at the people coming out of that corner, and Robinson was the one who was the straightest, not wiggling the car. Maximin ghosting for some reason there. I don't know if they've got a penalty of some kind to get rid of, but as you say, Robinson looking very smooth at the moment. And there's a spin there for Steve. Steve Brown has spun coming out of a bus stop chicane, and we will have a look at that on board with Steve if we can find him. Here we are, we're on board with Steve. He just runs wide in the first part, off the track, tries to get the second part tight enough, and just gets on the power, and it just goes round. Absolutely nothing Steve could do about that, and that has dropped him far down the field, maybe out of the top 10.
This is all great for Nathan in the championship.
It's all brilliant for Nathan in the championship. After throwing away that race victory in Tokyo, he probably thought that was it, but he's now. You've got Mark out in the lead, who had 2 issues in the first 2 rounds of the series, finished last in Tokyo, not knowing the circuit, but Spa, he certainly, after that wobble, lost him a lot of time. He's picked up the pace again and is now 1.5 seconds in the lead from Maximin, as you say. Robinson 3rd, who was 4th in the championship, coming in. Then there's Eric Mignon with a great 4th place at the moment, holding off Tim Clark, who missed the whole of round 1 and 2. I think the closest in the championship is, well, Robinson in 3rd, and as Steve Brown moves up into 9th past Callum Brewell, who's again come into this feature race struggling. But on the back of that pack we have Cameron Drayton Steve Brown now trying to go past Cameron Drayton into Pouan. Goes to the inside and cleanly makes it through. So we have Steve Brown, Cameron Drayton, Brewell, and then it's Sandell who has caught the back of this pack and is now back in the battle for the top 10.
I think Kirov must have had an issue somewhere because he was up there, wasn't he? Wasn't he in second?
He was second at one point. I'm just trying to find...
Eric is still in 4th, but Kirov has dropped down.
Yeah, Kirov is down in 7th place, just ahead of Steve Brown. Maybe he got caught up with Steve's spin, I'm not sure. But he's just running behind Trevor Randall in the Dodge Viper. The Lightning McQueen coloured Dodge Viper. But there is Callie Wright. 13 seconds off the lead already, and it's not even the end of lap 2. And we've already had plenty of action. But Mark Ridout is now under pressure from Nathan Maximin, who is trying to make it a second win of the season here. Should have been 3, but he will always say that by the end of the season. He should have had 3 by now, but Maximin looks to be inside. Will he get the inside of last horse? Yes, he does. Ridout lets him go. It's too early to battle. And they both head down to Eau Rouge with Robinson just a bit further behind. But we will stick with this battle and go on board with Ridout through Eau Rouge and over top of Radion. Keeps it just about within track limits. And will he keep the slipstream for Maximin going up to Les Combes? And you'll be very pleased to hear Peter Cowan has got his question in this week.
Is it something that you can actually read out in public?
Yes, we can read it in public. Yes, Peter's keeping it clean, shall we say. A horse that measures 16 hands high. How tall is that in centimetres? I wouldn't have a clue. How big's a hand? Oh well.
What's your best guess, Dave? Is a hand like a hand?
Oh, I suppose it depends whether it's my hands, because my hands are quite big because I've got long fingers.
Did you ever learn piano?
No, but I was quite good at the keyboard, so...
Same thing, isn't it?
It's probably a... well, yeah. Yeah, you just press the mode button at the top and send it that way. But yeah, if anybody knows how far... SS Rafik says 250. That's a lot of hands.
Yeah.
What's the horse doing? Standing on its hind legs? It says about 9 hands. There we go.
Yeah.
A normal horse is around 9 hands, so Pete's horse must be very tall. Must be standing on its hind legs. Anyway, back to racing in hand. Pete should send these questions into the Alpha live streams. I'm sure it would keep people like Andrew Maffer very entertained throughout the day. But we head back to the front. Nathan Maximin now leads by 1.2 seconds. No, almost 2 seconds from Mark Ridout, who is still hanging on there in second place. Maximin sliding it out the final corner. Mark keeping it as level as possible, and Martin Robinson driving away from Tim Clark at the moment. The top 4 in the shot on the main straight. Trevor Randall closing in 5th place, and after his spin on the first lap where he finished it in 13th place, he is now 6th for Ryan Sandell. That Dodge Viper, I don't know why it is. Nobody else seems to get to grips with Dodge Viper, but Sandell just seems to have it nailed on in these conditions, and he is now closing in on Trevor Randall. Have you driven the Dodge Viper before, Jay?
Not in real life, Dave, no.
No, I meant on the game.
It's Group 4, I had it last year, didn't I?
Oh, of course, yes, you did. Yes, how could I forget
Jack
that?
struggled quite a lot.
By the end, by
Ryan was
halfway
only
through
one
the
bit later.
season, you'd chucked it in the. You'd certainly given it to Nicky to test, hadn't you?
I think it was just me, mate. I don't think it was the car. The car was fine. I just can't drive when there's tyre wear.
You are saying that, but last season you had it, Jack had it, and Ryan had it, and Ryan was the only one to get any pace out of it. Now Trevor's doing okay in it
win
now.
The championship though.
Sorry?
He did win the championship.
Yes,
though.
fair point, he did, but we know Trevor's no slouch, and Ryan is all over him heading down into P1 now. He's going to the inside. Is he going to go through there? That is a lovely move by Ryan Sandell. Nicely set up. We'll head back for a replay of that once we know if Trevor can fight back. It doesn't look like he can. We'll head into the Fania chicane. No, Sandell has got position and up into 5th. What a comeback drive this is from Sandell. As we just head back to the highlight of that, Sandell got it sideways out the corner with no name, but still managed to get the run on Trevor Randall, who we do have to remind everybody is on a controller, and we do think there might be a slight disadvantage in these conditions correcting slides and things like that with a controller. But Sandell is certainly on the march and only 20 seconds off the top position at this moment in time. There is a message in the chat that the Jaguar is good as long as you don't need to take it round a corner. Yeah, we're not racing at Monza though, so I think we need to make sure we can get round the corner. But the top 4 have spread out a bit here at Spa, and the closest battle we actually have is Trevor Randall and the recovering Steve Brown after his spin on the opening lap. Now, I don't know how much tyre damage that will have done to Steve and Ryan, in fact. I will try and bring up their car info and see if there's much difference between the cars. Just scrolling through the grid. There isn't much. We may actually have a position where the cars don't stop here, Jay. But to go through the field on lap 5 in 14th place we have Alex Wilmot, second event here with the club, and must have had a few issues to drop down there. Sam Dimolo is in 13th, Mignon in 12th, Callum Brewell, after that superb drive in the first race, is down in 11th. He will want 20-minute races all day long, because as soon as the tyre wear comes in, something does not click for Brewell. Peter being second, and he's actually 10 seconds off 5th place now. Jack Cameron Drayton in 8th, Trevor Randall in 7th. He's been passed by Steve Brown somewhere off our cameras, who is now trying to chase down Ryan Sandell, who's not making much headway into Tim Clark in 4th at the moment. Third, 3.5 seconds further up the road, is Martin Robinson, who has another 4 seconds forward to Mark Ridout, who's, after how much he was struggling in the first race, this is impressive by Mark. To be, he's 5 seconds in touch of Maximin and running in second place at this moment.
Yeah, what's his best lap like compared to Martin's?
Mark has done a 2:47.1 and Nathan has done a 2:46.0. I don't know if that's
Mark is quicker than Martin, and
Martin's was a 2:46.6. Yes, I don't know if that's the last lap or the current fastest lap. That's the
second,
best.
third and fourth have got similar top level pace. Ryan could come through. It's about a second a lap quicker than those guys.
Just look back at Ryan Sandell, and his lap time is a 2:45.3. He finished, when he'd spun, he was 20 seconds off the pace, and he was only just getting going. And he's now only 18.7. So half the race has gone though. He's only got 15 minutes to close that up. I don't think he's going to be winning this race with that pace.
Make up 6 seconds really, maximum is what you'd expect.
Well, 6 seconds would put him into 4th place, but he still wouldn't quite make the podium. But Nathan Maxman in front is certainly making the most of his position. He's managed to take advantage of everybody's mistakes, and now he's running away with this victory. But we've said that before tonight, and don't stay tuned to this, because it's not over until that checkered flag comes out, and the famous words of "to finish first you have to finish" certainly applied to Nathan earlier tonight, and hopefully, fingers crossed for him, he won't do the same again now. As he runs a bit wide there, but just taking the line, finding the grip. I don't even know where the closest battle on track is at the moment. Everyone's spread out by about 3 seconds between everybody. I think the closest battle we've got is Keith Calirai, has dropped into 10th place behind Callum Brewell. He gets sideways then and has Peter Harris hassling the back of him. Calirai would probably be wanting a little bit more from this race after a decent result in the first race of the night.
Peter must have had an issue, mustn't he? Because he was ahead of Callum.
And Nathan Maximin pit, and so does Mark Ridout. So these guys thinking they do need to pit. In comes Martin Robinson as well, and Tim Clark looks like he's going to continue, and so does Sandell. Now this is interesting. As Maximin heads out the pits, he comes out in the lead. He's had his pit stop and he comes out in the lead. Maximin holds the lead. Tim Clark in 2nd. Mark Ridout comes out in 3rd, ahead of Ryan Sandell. So Maximin, Clark, Maximin, Ridout and Robinson all pitted on that lap. And it's brought Steve Brown into play as well. Just having a look now, Cameron Drayton also pitted. And in last place at the moment is Sam Dimolo, struggling in that Aston Martin. Wow, very sideways.
I don't think they lose much time at all in the pit stop, did he?
No, it's one of them things with GT Sport. It seems like the pit stops are a lot quicker than technically should be, and you don't lose that much time. I think he was about...
What's in the wet?
Sorry, go on.
When you're in the wet, obviously, they have to take that first corner very, very slowly, and you're not taking it. The computer's driving you around tight line and cutting it out.
Exactly, that definitely helps, but I think pit stops are generally more of a stop time on this game rather than actual pit lane entrance exit time, which would be about 20 odd seconds. Nathan to Tim was about 10 seconds I think at that point, so, and he's now 3 seconds in the lead, so a time loss of about 7 seconds, but obviously feeling the need to pit and change those tyres. But so far we have had 4 pit stops, and I don't know whether we'll see any more. With 10 minutes to go, will people like Tim Clark try and make it to the end of the race? He's got 5 seconds on Mark Ridout.
I don't see why they would be coming in now and leaving it out. I think the idea is that they're coming in because when they do drop off, even if it's only slightly, you're going to be losing a lot of time.
I completely agree with you there. Certainly it was worth it for Maximin, and I think it was probably worth it for Ridout. He doesn't want to take the risk, as Ridout is now under pressure from Sandell. Sandell hasn't pitted, Ridout has, so this set of tyres not finding the pace for Ridout early on, as Sandell goes side by side with him across the start finish line. There's a blue flag out for some reason. I think that must be for Dimolo. somewhere out on the circuit, but Ridout keeps the inside for La Source. Sandell tries to cut back, and that has worked perfectly for Sandell as they head down towards Eau Rouge, and Sandell has gone through and taken that position. We'll ride on board with him into the into La Source, just gets cut back on Ridout, gets the car straightened up quicker, and he is through. But he's defending up to the top of the hill. Now, you said earlier, Jay, you thought Sandell would need 6 seconds he could close up in the time he had remaining.
I said he would claw back 6 seconds, but
yeah,
it's not even been that much. Tim is.
I was going to say Tim is holding him off
really
for
well.
now. We
He's only
have
gained a second.
We've had a question in the chat which I think I'll put to you, because I don't think I can answer this because I don't even know the layout of it. But Ian Blake has been in touch, the famous 18 plate. Do you prefer the Spa F1 circuit or the kart circuit? Don't think that's one I can answer because I've never been.
I haven't driven the car circuit.
Oh, haven't you? I thought you'd been.
No, the kart circuit I have. I haven't driven the car circuit.
Well, yes. I think Ian's just assuming you've played it on the game.
No, I think the kart circuit live, in real life, is better than Spa and GT Sport. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, we can only go off what you know.
If you're on board with Ryan now, if you look right across, you can see the go-kart track actually in the game.
Yeah, there's the building on the right-hand side. That is the go-kart track, and you can just see some little red and white barriers across the barrier. That is the go-kart track. We'll try and get a shot of it later on. I don't know if the cameras will pick it up. But Ryan is now staying... Oh, runs a little bit wide there, but Ridout sticking with him for now. Will them new tyres come into effect quick enough? We're just looking through the rest of the field. Robinson is holding off Steve Brown for now. So Trevor Randall running completely by himself, heading down into the bus stop chicane in 7th. Cameron Drayton in 8th. Callum Brewell heading for a top 10 at the moment in 9th, ahead of Cali Rai. Pete Harris 11th with a slowdown penalty to get rid of. Mignon in 12th. Wilmot in 13th, and Dimlo having a horrible race in 14th at the moment. Damage to the front of his car, and he's 47 seconds off the next guy.
Even though I might have been beating him.
I'll let you tell him that. As series organiser and somebody who wants to continue producing this coverage. Oh. For some reason my phone has just picked up some speech from me. Don't know why that has. That's interesting. So if you heard any background noise there, I don't know what it was trying to pick up there. But anyway, we head back to race. It's lap 9. We got just under 6.5 minutes to go. Max Min leads by 6.5 seconds. Where have we heard that one before? And Tim Clark is in 2nd place. He's 5 seconds ahead of Ryan Sandell, who is still having to fight off the attentions of Mark Ridout. Just looking at the car info, Sandell's rear tyres are starting to go off a little bit, which is not surprising considering the spin he had at the start of the race.
Mark's tyres are pretty much brand new, aren't they?
Yeah, Mark came in for a pit stop, so I think if I was Mark now, I'd know 2nd place has gone, and I would just sit there because those tyres are running out. I wouldn't say quickly, but you still got 5 minutes and a lot of acceleration areas around the circuit to get through. And if you can see Ryan's car at the moment, he's sideways through quite a few of the corners, especially on the power. There we go again, heading out onto the back straight, and this actually may give Mark quite a run, but the Dodge Viper's very quick in a straight line. They head now down through Blanchemont. Sandell sideways on entry into there, but running wide again. Ridout still attacking. Just can't quite get close enough to take a position. So you come out of a bus stop chicane. It's 4 minutes 44 to go. That possibly means 2 more laps, I think, on a 2:46 for Ryan and a 2:44 for Nathan. So the top 2 might get an extra lap in. It just depends. No, probably won't actually. So this lap and the next to go.
Well, I mean, Mark was a clear second, wasn't he?
He was a clear second before he pitted, yes.
He's pitted, come forth, and he's got no more pace than him or Ryan.
The only thing I can think of with Mark is because he hasn't practiced and because he hasn't tested, he didn't know the tyre wear and just assumed when Nathan pitted it makes sense to pit because he knows Nathan's practiced.
Could be, or could be maybe he has practiced and he knows that when the grip drops off, his performance is not good.
Yeah, that's the other thing. With the grip dropping off, you're not just dropping off as normal, you've got the wet conditions to deal with as well. So Maximin's certainly taking advantage of his fresh tyres. He's off down the road, 9 seconds in the lead for now. Tim Clark, the gap's coming down between Ryan and Tim. It's down to 3.8 now, but I think that's going to be too much unless he can pull something out the bag, which would be a great result for Tim on his return. And then we have Mark Ridout still pushing Ryan, but just not being able to get within that half a second. 5th goes to Robinson at the moment. He's out on his own, ahead of Steve Brown, who didn't pit. I've said this before about Steve last week, but he didn't pit in this race so far, and I think that spin just cost him a bit of tyre grip. His tyres are about the same as Ryan's, so they'll be slowly going off. Interestingly, I think he's also running a bit of traction control. The light is flashing.
Spotted a battle for you, though, maybe.
Oh, go on, man.
Jack is catching Trevor at a rate of knots as well.
So
but I'm assuming maybe Jack has pitted and Trevor hasn't.
We head back. There is Jack Cameron Drayton. He's 4.3 seconds behind Trevor Randall at this moment, but pushing hard.
2 seconds a lap quicker.
Jack Cameron Drayton did pit on the same lap as everybody else. We had 4 pitters: Robinson, Cameron Drayton, Ridout and Maximin. Everybody else has tried to make it to the end of the race, unless they're in the bottom, outside the top 10, where we may have missed their pit stop. But if you look on the top right, we have a queue of cars from La Source back to the bus stop. That is 2nd through to 8th. The arrow right at the bottom of the screen, that's Sam Dimolo, almost a lap down. But yes, Cameron Drayton is closing very quickly. He's got 3 seconds in 1 lap to close on Randall. If we have a look at Randall, see whether his tyres are, he's doing the 249.9, and his tyres are slowly going off. Not as bad as Ryan Sandell's, but head back to Sandell now, who is currently in 3rd place.
His rears are really gone now. He's struggling. Tim actually up front is pulling away now because Tim's tyre wear's nowhere near as bad.
That is something that come up last year. That's how Tim won them first 2 races, and I don't know how he does it. Must be a little magician. It's little Sergio Perez, I think. We'll have to call Tim Clark, because he certainly looks after them tyres like he has to pay for them himself. Just looking at the battle actually for 3rd place, Mark can't get past Sandell, but close behind and catching, I think at a rate of knots, is Robinson. I think it might be too late, but then fresher tyre. Oh, he's sideways through Pibon. I've got to go back and look at that. he comes through, gets on the curb, and just powers through the second part of P1 completely sideways. Great catch there. Sorry,
It's the
you were
last
about
lap
to
for these
say.
guys.
It is the last
The
lap.
last lap for these guys, yeah. For everyone.
Robinson's still pushing hard and sideways. I don't think the positions are going to change. We'll head to Maximin for now, who's just coming down to a bus stop chicane. It's been a dominant performance by Maximin after he's got into the lead. 11.5 seconds in the lead. He's had a pit stop and he's still stretched that lead out, and he redeems himself from Tokyo to take the victory, sliding across the line. Maximin wins and possibly takes the championship lead back, I'm not too sure. In second place comes Tim Clark, a great drive looking after his tyres with a no pit stop race. Sandell holds off Ridout for third, and here comes Robinson across the line, still fishtailing. Sixth comes Steve Brown, who is really struggling. He even hits a wall on the way to the start-finish line. And like you said, Cameron Drayton just needed another lap. He's just got onto the tail of Trevor Randall for 7th, but doesn't make it through. And we head back.
Misjudged that. I thought they were going to have another lap.
It was close, so it certainly was close. And here comes Callum Brewell in 9th place. Callum coming home to get a top 10 after his first podium in the first race. I think he'll be satisfied with his night's work. Keith Cally-Wright in 10th. Eric Mignon coming across the line in an uneventful 11th. Peter Harris in 12th. Well clear of Alex Wilmot in 13th. And Sam Dimilo has already crossed the line in 14th. So as we wait for Alex to come round to the start-finish line, who would you say was your driver for that race, Jay?
The obvious one is Ryan after his bad start, but put yourself in Nathan's shoes after a disappointing first run. You can only beat what they put in front of you, and he's just absolutely dominated it.
I'd completely agree. You've got to look at Maximin after as Wilmot slides across the line to finish. Maximin had to put that one to bed straight away after that opening race, and I can't believe what would have been going through his mind in the last 2 laps, even after pitting. But it's the fastest lap as well in that race for Nathan Maximin, and a great event all round. So your first time in the commentary box, Jay, and plenty of excitement to get your head around. Will we be seeing you back on the circuit next time out?
I think if it's the dark races, I think I'm going to dodge that one as well. Fair weather driver here.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you do the Club 100 wet races with slick tyres?
Yeah, in the dark at Buckmore in November.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was only actually all right with those.
I was going to say, because that was never a dry race, even if it wasn't raining. It was always icy. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We'll have a
You're welcome.
championship order for you at the start of the next event next week. Like Jay says, we have dark races for the next one, so everyone will be trying to keep their headlights in one place. I'm just trying to see what circuits we've got. I can't quite remember which ones we're going to. We're going to Sardinia B and Barcelona in the dark. That could be quite interesting. A circuit most people know and probably equate with boring F1 races. But in the dark with these cars, it's going to be anything but. But for this week, it's another win for Nathan Maximin and another win for Ryan Sandell. The 2 drivers dominating this championship with 2 wins each, just like last year. Steve Brown there trying to take the fight to him in 3rd place. But for now, we will see you next week, and head over to Super GT and Kirif Kart YouTube pages to see their views of these races from tonight, and we'll see you at the same time next week. Goodbye.